Amazon's issuing a warning. It's time to leave the country, perhaps. CPI shows good news. Now, for business owners, making a profit is the name of the game. For smaller or mid-sized businesses, it's pretty much the same. Although, unlike bigger corporations, those who have a much smaller machine tend to rely on bigger entities like Amazon or Walmart to provide their services. An insider from Amazon may have just revealed that things are about to get worse for the economy, much worse. And this is in spite of the fact that Amazon's pretty much at the top. They are still not safe. Wow. So what does this mean for us down below? But I guess we should all be happy because recent CPI numbers are showing good signs, right? I mean, we're being told that inflation has come down and that the Fed's plan is working. But can I ask you if your wallet is feeling this? When you visit Walmart, Target, Costco, whichever store you like to buy your stuff from, does it seem like it's costing less to buy the same amount of goods? And since CPI is down, should we now expect things to start looking up again? I believe it was Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen who said that we were not going to see another economic downturn in her lifetime. I wonder who's going to tell her the bad news. It has some in our community wondering and worrying if the United States will ever be the same. And I've seen some contemplate moving to other countries just because things are becoming so bad. But you got to ask, where else would you go if you were to leave the United States? Now, before I continue, please take a second, drop a huge like for the video. Really appreciate that. And if you guys are new here, if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to the actual state of our economy, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, SNAP and EBT, the housing market, the stock market, and everything going on in Washington, D.C. that affects us, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And for the best way to invest in gold or silver, be sure to hit the link in the description down below this video. Protect yourselves, folks. Would you ever say bad things about where you work? I'm talking about your current employment here. Would you ever be blunt and say all the bad things that you've noticed in it? Seriously, there is no perfect organization, but we need the cash flow. Those paychecks, they keep us afloat, and it's not beyond us to lie and say that we're working for a really great establishment when there are obvious flaws in it. Why am I asking this? Well, did you know what the Fed's vice chair for supervision said about the banks? And this was after Silicon Valley Bank's failure, okay? So Michael Barr, he said that the banks were sound and resilient. Right off the bat, do you guys agree with that? Or is he looking out for his spot and just doesn't want to lose his job?
Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr is saying the Fed is evaluating whether the application of more stringent standards would have prompted the bank to better manage the risks that led to its failure. And just by way of context, he's talking a lot about right there the 2019 changes to the Dodd-Frank Act. And he does seem to suggest that perhaps had those changes not been made, now I will tell you that some of the banking industry disagree with this, but Barr is suggesting maybe that had these changes not been made, the bank would not have failed. The banking system, he says, is strong and resilient and well capitalized. The Fed is committed to ensuring that all deposits are safe, and he continues to monitor conditions in the banking system.
Would you be willing to lie to keep your job? If banks were doing so well, why are they holding back on their lending? Why is there a huge credit crunch right now? So I saw the story of a cider making company called Reverend Nat's Hard Cider, and they wanted to open a tap room in Portland, Oregon, thinking that getting credit would be a breeze. After all, they have been making more than $1 million a year, and they've been in business for more than a decade, and they only needed $50,000. This is small change for banks, right? Not to mention they're making $1 million a year. That should be low risk, right? Within February and March of this year, they tried to finance this and reached out to 3 different lenders, one where they even had an existing line of credit. You know what happened? They got rejected. And like I said, this was a profitable business, but smaller and mid-sized banks are now tightening credit, and this is for sure going to affect many small businesses across our country. Now, economists are saying that it's hard to perceive just how bad it's going to be, but that small businesses across the board should prepare as they will be hit significantly. Now, the same can be said somewhat for companies like Amazon. In an insider meeting, Amazon is said to be very worried about the direction of our economy. And think about this for a second. How many small businesses rely on Amazon to provide them with goods and materials? How many businesses are running their businesses off of Amazon's Amazon FBA platform? Now, let's assess this insider information. They're worried about the economy and the credit crunch that businesses are experiencing. And so this also means that they're going to be losing out on a lot of customers who normally order from them. Customers that run what? That's right, folks, small businesses. It's like a cycle, guys. It's also worth noting that in this meeting, they discussed the slowdown of online consumer spending. Now, this topic has been discussed by the likes of Walmart, Home Depot, and like I said, Amazon. This is where Amazon makes their profits, and this is why they're such a huge success. But if that goes down, then what happens next? And just to confirm that our worries are well warranted, we are now seeing thousands of layoffs in Amazon just within this year alone, and we've got a long way to go before it's over. Amazon has already announced 27,000 layoffs. 27 freaking thousand layoffs, guys. And what month is it? I mean, if you guys are not concerned about what is coming, you should be. And even more importantly, beyond being concerned, I hope you're doing something to prepare yourselves and your family. Now, these cuts aren't just their workforce, and I believe that it is now becoming more common with other companies as well. But again, let's focus on Amazon here. Were you guys aware that they have canceled, closed, or even delayed at least 99 facilities? And this is another reason why commercial real estate is in such a shattered state. You might want to be mindful about those commercial real estate REITs that you might be investing in. You might want to have a long, hard look at those if you know what I mean. Now, this affects 32.3 million square feet of active or planned ground level space in, get this, 30 states. 30! Jeff Bezos has been talking about this downfall of Amazon since 2013. So here's what he said back then about Amazon and the possibility that it closes. Quote, "I don't worry about it because I know it's inevitable. Companies come and go, and the companies that are the shiniest and most important of any era, you wait a few decades and they're gone." End quote. With the way that things are in our economy and our banking system, we may not have to wait that long. To be honest, it's becoming that much tougher to live in our country because we're not even buying things that we want. Obviously, because we can't afford them. But like I asked a while ago, where will you go? The United States is not a very popular country right now, and with all of this talk of countries trading with their own currencies, we should probably expect hyperinflation. Why? Because when these countries flood all of those US dollars back here, we are probably going to be buying a Big Mac for about $50 each, maybe even more. Now, if you can't afford that, tough luck. Although, and this is just me squinting to see the silver lining here, the CPI numbers have just come in and they're down for the 9th consecutive month. Annual CPI is now at its lowest since May 21st, although we have to take into consideration that, on a year-over-year basis, this was the time of year when food and energy prices skyrocketed due to the war in Ukraine. Now, the price for goods went up about 0.1% from February, better than the previous 0.4% increase, and Eric Lund, an economist at the Conference Board, he said this, quote, "It's a good print, but it's not the end of the game. It's not the end of the story. There's more to come. Hopefully, knock on wood, we're headed in the right direction," end quote. But with core inflation still well beyond the Fed's target of 2%, should we expect even more rate hikes from the Fed? Rate hikes that will again have less businesses borrowing money and more banks tightening credit? Do you guys feel as though we're being told bad news in the most positive way possible? And even with the CPI supposedly going down for months now, have you guys felt it in your last grocery trip? Just let me know what you guys are seeing in the comments below. Now, the future may become increasingly bleak if we don't do anything with our finances today. And if you're one of the people who are interested in learning more about side hustles, creating more income, small businesses, home-based businesses, developing multiple streams of income, hiring your kids, creating tax advantages, developing tax strategies, investing in gold, silver, the stock market, or maybe even investing in real estate, then feel free to drop me a comment down below. Let me know you guys are interested in these topics, and I'll be sure to create videos for you guys on that. The road to financial freedom is not easy, but it's also not impossible. Now, before I go, guys, please don't forget to drop a huge thumbs up for the video and subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you guys on the next video.